Welcome back to the shop. It's been a few days. I went on a vacation for a little bit. The epoxy is definitely dry, and you can see I've got things clamped in a weird way. So one of the things that one of the things I seized, my eyes done observed, is that the bottom of this foot got turned a little too far. It's a little low, so I got to cut. I need to make a level platform for the legs. I need this thing to sit stable, and I'm also planning on a leg down here. Maybe I might need a leg down here. What I've done is I've clamped it to that fixture. That's basically now it's a right angle fixture, and I screwed this big old board to the bottom, this big old sheet of melamine to act as a fence. And this is just holding the base vertical so that the back wall stays upright in the vertical and plumb-ish. It's pretty square. It's pretty close to square. And that way I can move this however I want, tilt it and angle it in whatever, fashion I want it to be in. And that lets me get the position that I want it to sit at when it's on a floor, when it's in place, when it's being used as a table. I'll have to do the same thing for the top. I'm a little more concerned at the base side of things because this drops far enough that cutting much off of this means cutting an awful lot off of this. There's probably 2 or so inches off of this side that needs to happen. The other piece I'm watching for is making sure the bottom of this has room for a foot, or whether it needs a foot or not. I'm not sure whether that's going to need a foot. It may, but what I'm going to start with is just getting full coverage across this. The way I'm going to do that is I think I'm going to put my dado head in. I may just nibble it. The idea is I'm going to take it up to the table, put this whole mess on the table saw, and I'm going to nibble away at these pieces until I get a flat bottom foot at all the proper pitches and angles that I need for the position I've got in this. I think this position is going to be fine. Notice it's not perfectly plumb this way, and that doesn't matter because it's sculpted. It needs to lean. It should lean. I don't think it should be straight. In my mind, the thing I've got in my head doesn't have a perfectly straight trunk. I would have preferred it lean the other way a little because it's kind of busy on this side and it's heavy over here, but it's okay. It might actually work better because the heaviness might work to its advantage. And in my head, these are going to get thinned down so much that it may not be nearly as busy as my initial thinking. In fact, I can probably leave this one thicker and make these thinner to give that a similar feel, or to help balance that. So what we're going to do is take this over the table saw and ride this side against the fence while I nibble away at these feet just a little bit. Excuse me. And we're going to get this thing somewhat adjusted so it'll sit more flat and decide whether or not I need to put a foot on this center bit, or whether the center bit foot. We'll find out. I worry about using the center bit as the foot for 2 things. Sneezy. I worry about the center bit, this just being the foot and not extending it a little, because that means I have to cut up quite a ways, and on this foot I'm not too worried, but on this one I may end up too much of a scarf on this. It might just be too low. There might not be. It might make it feather too far. It won't work the way I want it to look, and I don't want it to get too short either. So we're going to get over to the table saw here and start nibbling away. I'm going to pull back and you can watch the whole process. It's going to be an awful lot of fence moving and nibbling away, taking tiny bits at a time, and then I'll do a bunch of checking to see how much I like what the result is. And we'll just keep going at it until at least these 2 feet are within the same plane. And then after that I'll judge whether I need a 3rd foot, or whether the base can make the foot. And if so, then I'll work out what to cut next so that the base can be within that same plane as well. But I'll get both feet into the same plane first. I'm going to do a very similar thing for doing the top, and we'll see how that happens. I'll show you that when I get done with that. So first, let's get the feet in the same plane. Well, I'm off camera, but grabbing something real quick. That seemed to work reasonably well. It was slow going because the saw kerf was pretty skinny, but that seems to have reached a decent amount of pretty close to level. That does give me a sense of how long a foot would need to be. We'd be looking at about 1 inch, maybe 3/4, to make it, you know, even with these feet. Are these feet as low as I dare go, or do I have a problem with going any shallower? I believe that any further would be a bad idea. I think where they are is good, and I can shape them as I need to, and I can add a foot to the back of the trunk. So that tells me that my feet are fine-ish. They're not very smooth, but I can smooth them out after. I like that. That was a fair bit of work. So I didn't do the dado head because it wouldn't come up far enough, so there wasn't really much point. I guess I could have saved a few passes early on, but I was going to end up nibbling anyways, and then there's a blade change and all that crap, so this was just fine. Yeah, I like what I've got so far. I do think a foot will be needed, and I'll have to work that out. I think I'm going to try. I had to take a lot off of this foot, and it took some time, so I think I'm going to try on this one, because I know I'm going to need a lot off of this one. I'm going to try to cut the bulk of that off before we try to do this again. We'll see about how that'll work. But the method seems to be sound, which is good. Very good. It's very, very good. I need to flip things over so I can do the top side, but I want to make sure that I do so in a way that makes things reasonably level. Or reasonably, I need the top and the bottom to be parallel. Or I'd like them to be parallel. I think it'd be easiest if they were parallel. And so, what I'm thinking about is how to flip this thing over effectively. And I'm thinking I'm just going to use a level. Yeah, because the saw is level, the bench is pretty level, everything's pretty level, so I'm okay with that. I think we'll do it that way. All right, so we'll get set up for that next. All right, so now I like that. We're getting to pull it off of here. And before we go to actually mount flipped upside down, we're going to make the bottom of the feet nice and smoothish. Smoothish. So this will be heavy. So now we've got, well, there's proof right there that this method worked well. If we put it on this 3/4 piece, it might be just a tiny bit high, or no. Yeah, it's just a tiny bit high. So I need to get it flat, but I'm just curious at this point just how much of a foot we're really going to need here. Let's find out. Let's get a gander. A little more than that. A little more. That's pretty damn good right there. So 3/16, so 9/16. And those are pretty good on the floor too. They're seated well enough as well. That'll do. Okay, and that's still a little backwards tippy, but it's definitely headed that way. That's good. And when the top gets on, it'll be great. It'll be great. All right. Then that means we just got to come up with a foot for the third leg here, for that last bit. It's not going to be a big deal. It would mean if I wanted to now, yeah, I'm going to look at it from the front here. I think the way the left foot is going in is gradual enough. I don't want to go any more gradual than that. It's pretty good as it is. And I think having this up is okay. I think I'm all right with it being up like that. Yeah. I think that's all right. Just kind of getting a feel for how things are going to end up taking shape for it. Yeah, I don't know if I want to go any shorter on this side. I think this is about as short as I dare go. Where's a rough idea of, yeah, that's how we test. Take our framing square, look against this, go till we hit, the leg is about 11. Well, it's pretty short already, yeah. And then this one is about 11 and a quarter. So they're already right about the same length, which is good. I think I'm fine with that. Yeah, I think that's good. I was going from the inside edges, but which is not even close to a real number, but it'll work. And it's got just a slight lean, which I can correct a bit with sculpting too. So I think that's going to work. All right. Now we want to flip it over on our jig board here, or our board. Now, what I'd like to do is get it up on that box. Oh, one thing I would like to do first, though, is we're going to have to get some idea, I think we use this board, of where it's realistic to even begin. And I think this is a good place to begin, I think. Actually, that'll work too. We just take a measure from here up and from here to the top. That's about 30 and a quarter. So we need to be somewhere less than 30 and a quarter. Oof, that's way down there. Okay. That is actually correct, though. So somewhere in that vicinity. So I'm just going to lop off a really big chunk here. Okay. Yeah, we'll see if this saw is up to the task here. Following that line all right. There we go. That is even less to waste off with the table saw. Okay, I can deal with that. All right, so that's cut off. Now we can. Seems sturdy yet. That's good. So now we can lay it back up in the rig and see how well it goes flush for me here. That's on there, and now how is our levelness? Even with this levelness, Yep, okay, I'm gonna call that good. Alright, so now I'm gonna drop the blade quite low since we're really much starting at 0 now. Just a tiny bit of blade up, maybe an 1/8. And I'm just gonna get things started here. That's gonna be the beginnings here. So, carry it on over. It's a heavy bastard. Alright. So this side needs to be flattened here into all of this as well. So we're gonna come after it a little different. There's about 1/2 inch, maybe 3/4 before we hit those. Means we're gonna hit a lot of this flatness too. So okay. So we'll just start out with it about there. All right, that was a bit tedious, but it seemed effective. Actually cleaned the entire bottom of this, or the entire top, I guess. That entire face got touched by the blade, which may or may not have been a good thing. We'll see. I was worried at first. I was a little concerned that I was getting a little close to those. There you go. There's your. It's a little bit rocky, but that's because there's a bump in the middle of one of these. But I was a little concerned that I was going to get close to the pins here, but it seems that it turned out in my favor that it did not happen that way, so that was good. So we'll lay it down and examine our surface. Yeah, we got a little bit of flips to take care of here, but they're minor flips. Very quickly dispatched. Nothing to those. And then there's this one up here. Nothing to it either. And the main good news is I'm about at least 1/4 inch from my pins there, so that's good. Okay, pretty smooth there. We'll smoothen these up a bit. Get some of the deeper, some of these got a little deep. But overall, incredibly pleased. Definitely useful. Definitely good. I still haven't screwed it up yet. Oh, that's great. This on like so, and then we put in our, I think it was 3, there's a 9/16 shim we were thinking, right at the lowest point. I think that puts us at square there, very near it, a little too high, so we'll put him down here. How about that? There, that's pretty dang square. Okay, now it's definitely rearward. Oh, not bad. Okay, and then our top can sit up there like this. Oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what I had in mind. Yeah, that I think I can make that work. I think so. We're gonna still scallop this a bit, but maybe not as far. But that is getting closer and closer to being a table. How are we for levelness? Good. It's right where I said it was going to be. That's good. That is good. Okay. That just means I do need to come up with a 9/16 foot back there. That's all I got to do there is that. Otherwise, yeah, I'm fine with everything so far. We might be close to I got to come up with a foot solution. Once I have that, man, that's going to sit. That's going to sit on the... It's going to be floaty anyway. How much of it am I cutting away? I'm starting to debate what that foot needs to look like. Not sure yet. The first question I've got is whether or not the foot's even going to be visible. I'm not sure. Maybe it floats. Maybe it floats, maybe not. Not sure yet. But you're kind of getting the idea of what I'm after now. Right? We're shooting for this sort of tree-looking thing. And this will come a little more like that, and center is a little closer to there. Something like that. And then I'll figure out a shape for this. Yeah, it's coming along, sort of. It's got a tiny bit of a lean, but that's okay. I actually prefer that over perfectly straight. Yeah, this will work out. I have to decide my next steps then. I think in order to work on everything, I'd like to get this foot situation resolved. I think I want to do... So the first thought I have is I'm tempted to just throw in an adjustable foot back there. Like a threaded insert with a bolt. Because then you can change how it sits against the against a wall. If your walls aren't plumb, you can change it. And this is, oh, we're a bit, nope, we're good actually. We're good there. How are we on this? Yeah, we're good. Yeah. I think I like what I've got. I'm pretty sure I'm okay with a leveling foot for now, provided it's hidden. If it ends up being visible, then I would change it out to a wooden thing of some kind and sculpt it in. If it stays hidden, I can use an adjustable foot. Okay, so we're gonna get set up for doing that real quick. All right, so I have decided I'm going to start with a mobile foot, or an adjustable foot that is fairly small. It's only about 1 inch diameter. Might actually be smaller. I'm going to put it in, about 1/2 inch in. It's not even 1 inch then, is it? Yeah, it is 1 inch. So I'm going to put it in about 1/2 inch in from the edge. And I'm going to try to center it on where these feet will live, just so it's a decent right triangle, so it leans the right way, so the weight is in the right distribution. To center it, I figured I would find basically my center masses of these, which is essentially where I want the main weight of the table to set on, because it's not at the ends. This end is going to get curled under quite a bit, so I'm going to go about right there. So now center to center on that, or at least end to end on that, is 25. Oh, that worked out beautifully. So 25 inches. So we need to go 12.5 in. So what I'm going to do is burn 1 inch. Actually, we'll just do this. We'll set the combo square in about where I think it'll be. 12.5. So we'll just move pieces to that point. There. That's at the right spot. I'm going to take this square and my pencil and set it against my foot here and say boink. That is where center of feet will be, not center of mass or anything, just center of feet. And then just take a rule and do 1/2 inch from up from the back of this, and I'm going to go a little more than 1/2, just because that way I have some room to play with if I needed to. And now we're going to come into that point and drill it. I'm going to shoot for the 3/16 I had originally. We'll just start from there, and that'll give us a nice level foot. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah. I'm pretty sure most of that'll be hidden anyway, so I'm not too concerned. I think we are set to start contouring things. Yes. Okay, well, I'll bring you back when I'm on that point. Alright, so we've got the foot on, and it's level, it's working, everything's flat. We're at the point now where I think we're ready to start doing the sculpting part of this. There's a couple of things. First of all, what I'm going to use to do the sculpting, I'm going to start probably with these. They're called Kutzall power carving discs for an angle grinder, and they're just really coarse, really coarse grit. It almost feels like abrasive, probably is. These might be a little too fine, though it does say it is the coarse ones, so we're going to see. I've got two shapes here. One is like a curved circle, half round like a thing, and then this one's more got a flat spot with some eased angle, eased corner here. So I'm going to put those in the angle grinder, one of each, or put one in the angle grinder and see how I like it. I'm not sure how fast they're going to cut, and if they're going to cut fast enough for my liking. But this is kind of the point where what's in my brain starts to translate in here, in reality. And it may or may not be awesome. It may or may not be obvious, but this thing's going to get shrunk quite a lot, and it's going to be a messy task, and it appears so far it's mostly going to be dust. So with that in mind, I'm going to throw this on. I'm going to start with the rounded one, because I think I'm going to use it to get more of my gross bulk removal. I'm going to do that. Find the arbor lock there. And with that on, we're going to do a little test to see how fast it cuts. But I'm gonna kick on a lot of the stuff. I'm gonna get out of the apron because it's gonna fling dust everywhere. It's just gonna get all over. There's no way around that. So what I'll do is I'll do a quick little test, see if it's gonna work fast enough, and then maybe come back and comment on it or just go after it. But I'm gonna get dust collection or air cleaner on and dust mask and hearing protection, because it's just going to be a loud, messy task. And hopefully we'll start heading towards the shape I'm after in my head. I may at some point pause to draw some lines just so I can keep track of where my shape in my brain is and make sure I leave enough, to be structurally good. So I think with that, there's not much more talking. I think we're just going to get into it and give it a what for. All right. Well, it's a good thing I stopped, because I just now realized you didn't see me doing the legs at all because you were out of frame, but the legs are shaped, they're pretty thin, so I might have gone a little far. We'll see. I don't know. I think it's okay. Things are going to get a lot lighter anyway, so hopefully that'll be alright. You did see the arm shape, and I went right through the frickin' holes, so I'm going to have to figure out a way to deal with that. I'm not sure what that way is just yet. I'm angry that I went through them, but they were also very close to the surface, so I'm going to have to figure out something. I did not go through them on this side, although I might be very close. right there. I might be very close in that spot, so you know, it's coming. It's going to take a while. Like I said, a lot of wood's going to get removed. I'm probably going to come back and thin these down even further. What I have in mind is a fairly thin piece. It's not going to have the bulk that you see right now. So I'm going to call it a day today because, well, it's Sunday, it's almost 5, and tomorrow's my birthday, so I'm going to take it easy. I have to work tomorrow anyway. So I'm going to call it a day for today, and we're going to get after this again another night or another day. We'll come back to it and finish it up, but you get kind of the idea of what's coming. It's some nice things that I'm already seeing is that all of my joints so far that I have pulled back a little are meeting very nicely, so that's good. No real worry about gaps. The grain direction and the color is a little bit different, but I'm not too worried about that either. I think I'd like to stand it up right now and see just how well it stands, because one, wow, it's much lighter already, but one, those legs got way thin. Oh, that's fine. It's very top heavy right now. I think it'll be alright. It's got a little bit of flex, but when I get all this back, all this stuff taken and lightened up, it's going to do a lot better, I think. Whew, that was a mess. Well, that's the end of this attempt first. We're gonna have to hit some shut-eye and dinner and whatnot, and come back and finish this up another night, another day, another time. I had at first thought I hit steel, but so far I haven't. So if I haven't hit steel, I might be able to do something fancy for this. We'll see. Yeah, I might come up with a way to make use of that. We'll see. Find out. We'll try. Anyway, whew, that was a lot of noise, and it's hard on the wrists. You got to hold on really good. You got a good grip on it. But the Kutzall is doing all right. It's not fast, but that's, I think, not a bad thing. I think it's actually making sure I don't go too quickly or don't remove too much too quick. It is easy to get carried away. These things that's probably 3/4, maybe 3/4 thick, maybe. Yeah, that's a thin 3/4, I think. But I think I'm going to come out here and do a little bit more to this because it's looking a little bulbous. I don't want bulbous out here. I want somewhat natural looking. So, but yeah, that's coming along, turning about half of this thing into sawdust, and it's everywhere like I expected. So I apologize for the bad camera footage, bad camera angle, and that you missed the shaping of the legs, but you got a good idea of what I was doing over here, so hopefully that'll be enough to splice together. I'll do better with that. This one's going to be a tricky one because you got to get underneath. I do think I'm going to need to find a way to rotate this and hold on to it on the other side. Getting the back sides of these is tricky with the grinder upside down and not being able to see what I'm working on. So I'll probably play around with that a little bit as well. But overall, aside from going through and hitting the holes right off the bat, I'm doing okay. I'm pleased with what I've got so far. Yeah, so far so good. There we go.